Quick reaction time. Dallas wins on Thursday night, 20-15. Giants, 5 field goals, no touchdowns. Jones played one of his better games, weirdly. 281, one pick. But that came at the end of the game, the interception. And they couldn't run a lick. So, Joel, feeling good about your Cowboys after a little bounce-back game?
No. Daniel Jones looked like a real franchise quarterback against the Cowboys this week, and that's not acceptable at all. And also, you said they couldn't run a lick. You're talking about the Giants or the Cowboys?
The Giants.
I don't know. They weren't that. They got a lot of stuff called back from like holding calls and stuff. Too many flags, by the way.
Horrible.
But they were running better than I'd like to admit, for sure.
And you see his finishing stat line, it's horrid.
I'd say at least 3 10-yard rushes were called back.
Yeah, okay, well, what sprung those rushes? Probably some hold. He finished with 24 yards rushing. That's terrible.
55.
As a team, you could probably add this up right now. 27, 29, 30 minus 4, 26. That's what they finished with.
The only good thing the Cowboys did was stop the Giants every time in the red zone. That was pretty nice. But, they let them walk all the way down there every time. So,
yeah.
I'd say I'm, 30% happy with that win.
They didn't stop the pass, which was shocking, as you said, against Daniel Jones. But at least they didn't average 13 yards a pass like they were in the other games. Or just on average on the season, that's what it was, which is just
it's still the Giants, right? That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, the Giants were cooking you through the air, which is just insane. Stop the run, but yeah, it's Devin Singletary and the Giants. Not impressed at all. Steelers next. That's oddly interesting.
That game had to be the most boring NFL game I think I've ever watched in my life. Field goals after field goals after field goals. I had a hard time staying focused on that game, and I'm just wondering, where is CD? I keep thinking his breakout game is going to happen this week. It's going to happen next week, especially against the Giants. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to have a massive game, but again, he's just kind of not really doing anything impactful. Is this going to be a breakout like last season, where the second half of the season he really got started? But I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from CD so far.
You didn't like 98 yards and a touchdown?
It's nothing crazy from what we've seen last season. I'm expecting 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards, prime CD. He's just not there right now.
Don't be ridiculous.
Those are crazy numbers.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is playing better than him. Okay.
Okay.
If you're a Cowboys fan, I'd be very concerned if I was a Cowboys fan with that type of win over the Giants. I mean, you should be shit kicking the Giants with those type of weapons you have on the Cowboys. But no, you made Daniel Jones seem like a legend.
Here's the thing. I don't know what type of weapons people are talking about when they're talking about Dallas. It's just CD. It's like, okay, Ferguson's capable, but so you have 2. Dak doesn't really count as a weapon. He's a distributor, right? So it's Cooks is all right. Yeah, he's all right. There's no running backs to be heard of, but it's like they don't have a bunch of weapons in Dallas. They're just an average sort of offense. They shouldn't be they should be cooking. CeeDee Lamb was good. I don't know. I'll take 98 yards and a touchdown. I don't know what your problem is with that, but
not enough.
He was one of the only things that was working for them. So that'll take all day. And they're getting some more production from some random guys like Tolbert and Turpin every now and then. But yeah, that was a terrible win. That gave me no confidence in Dallas.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel for that win.
Eagles trounced in Tampa Bay, 33-16 against the Bucs. Hurts lost. He was completely lost. 158 yards, another turnover, which is now just routine for him. He's an absolute turnover machine at this point. I get that his 2 best receivers were out, but you still have a good tight end, a really good running back. No Lane Johnson, but your own line is good enough. Saquon wasn't getting much done. You ripped 1 big yard, but still, I mean, if you're that guy at quarterback, you need to find a way to be competitive in that game at least. That game was over before you knew it. It was 24-0, and it was well, okay, on to the next. Sirianni has no idea what's happening. They have no idea what's happening as a team. So they looked horrible.
The Bucs have just been on fire this season. Every game, they continue to impress me. And I think lots of people had the Eagles going into this. And the Bucs just came out firing. Baker Mayfield, prime game. He's just connecting with Evans and Godwin like it's no one's business. I think that really took Philadelphia for a loop there. And you're right. Those turnovers definitely didn't help. He just can't stop it. He's starting to run the ball more, but These mistakes are so bad. It's going to lose him the season. And Sirianni, man, he is just turning to be a terrible coach. He is way in over his head right now. You can tell. Like he's making the stupidest decisions. I don't think he has long on the Eagles.
Yeah, you can almost like schedule the Hurts turnovers into like the second quarter of every game. You know, you can just expect it. It's coming. I believe they recovered one that he fumbled, but he was looking like a deer in the headlights out there, had no idea a guy was about to destroy him, and then he got destroyed.
Which made no sense. Like, he dodged the guy in the pocket, but here's the thing, when you dodge a defensive lineman, they come back. So it's like, the play's not over. They're still trying to kill you. And so the guy, he dodged him. I was like, hey, nice, get rid of it. And then he just winds up, and the guy comes right back and just tomahawks the ball out. And I was like, where do you think he went? Like, man.
It's crazy. Also, I want to just remind everybody that in the offseason, I said Sirianni was going to be one of the first coaches fired, and you guys called me crazy. And
well, it hasn't happened yet.
One, he is.
Doug is going to be the first one to go. Mark my
Doug
words.
might be.
I'd say Big Doug's the favorite for that right now. Yeah, going to the season, I thought it was going to be Dennis Allen for the Saints, but they're a bit better than we all thought, even though they just lost 2 in a row, but they were against decent enough teams. But yeah, Sirianni not looking great. Get him out of there. Maybe replace him in real time this season with Belichick. Hey, I'd freak out. If you're a Dallas fan, that'd piss him off right away, right? Like, that defense is going to immediately be better.
Get Pete Carroll in there. See what happens.
No, come on. Okay.
Anything would be better than Sirianni, though. Come on.
Yeah, the defense got torched again. Even the Bucs' inefficient run game was able to look good. That NFC East looking real bad. Okay, Jets lost at home to the Broncos 10-9. Remember, we're a week ago from after them beating the Patriots, where Rodgers said, okay, now the next step is learning how to handle success. You're 1-1, you just beat one of the worst teams in the league. You absolute dipshit, but okay. Rodgers said the weather was bad. Yeah, it was drizzling in the first half. Bo Nix was 12 for 60. Denver ran the ball well, at least, apparently, on this.
Was he really 12 for 60?
12 for 60. He got, like 60 yards passing. 12 completions for 60 yards passing. Okay. That would have been
60 attempts is ridiculous.
That would have been even funnier. Apparently, this Jets defense is great. Devontae Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin had a pretty good outing. Rodgers sacked 5 times. They couldn't run at all. Not that they really tried, because their offensive coordinator is a hack. So anyone here believe in the Jets at all?
It is not promising. That game doesn't give you much to go off of. Especially Brees. I think he was under 10 yards, and he's their weapon when they need to get out of trouble. And he was just stunted the whole time. I think that Broncos defense is really good. Like, they keep giving decent teams trouble. And that's the only good thing about that team. But Bo Nix, I think he was at -6 yards at the half.
Yes.
Like -6 at the half. And you still lose to the Broncos. Like, that has to be at home. That has to be the easiest team to beat. And you can only muster up 3 field goals. Like Aaron Rodgers, you have to lead a game-winning drive at some point in that game.
You're going to the Hall
only have to score more than 10 points. That's all. And it's drizzling. That's the main reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it's drizzling.
Yeah.
It's drizzling, and neither of your running backs can do anything. Like, how does that happen? You know, you gotta make something work. You're Aaron Rodgers.
And they didn't commit to it, though.
It was just bad. I think the moral of this game is that the division absolutely belongs to the Bills.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was insulting coming into the season that Jets were favored by Vegas. Like, I don't know what they're watching. Is Josh Allen, has he gone missing? Is he on a milk carton? Like, how are the Bills not favored to win the division? I'm a Dolphins fan. They have the best quarterback in the division and one of the best in the conference, one of the best in the league. Like, it doesn't make any sense. This boils down to me as well. Rodgers and Saleh, clearly there's a divide there. There's no respect. Rodgers loves to show him up any chance he gets. They had 5 false start penalties in that game. 5. That's horrible. Saleh, after the game, he's saying, got to figure it out, whether or not we're good enough or ready to handle all the cadence. Cadence had not been an issue all camp. Felt like our operation had been operating pretty good. Obviously, today it took a major step back. Then they ask Rodgers about it, and he's like, well, that's one way to do it. The other way is to hold them accountable. It's like, okay, very strange, because he's replying directly to his head coach's comment. Very weird. And then Saleh the day after goes, we're always going to push the envelope when it comes to cadence. Always. That's part of what makes us who we are. And we're going to continue to always push the envelope on that. So it's like, okay, this is embarrassing.
They're like fighting each other in interviews.
Yes. It's like they interview, and then he gets a talk, and then he gets a talk, and then this isn't a serious team. They don't have serious people. Saleh has no control, and people are starting to finally say, oh, maybe the Jets need a different head coach. No shit! I've only been saying that, let me see, forever. Like, he's 20-34, no management skills, even less team management skills. The best coaches have great records off of bye weeks or with extra time. You know, you have a Monday night, then you play later in a Sunday night, extra day, whatever. Saleh is 2-6 with extra time. So, I mean, with more time to cook, he cooks his own team.
But he also had Zach Wilson as his quarterback.
I don't care.
Well, you should, because you can't win games with that guy. That makes a big difference. That makes a huge difference. I'm sure if he had Aaron Rodgers the last 2 seasons, those numbers would have been completely different.
Yeah, guess what? With Zach Wilson and even Sam Darnold in New York, if the defense only gave up 10 points, they'd only lost once under both those two guys. They already have a loss with Aaron Rodgers.
But Aaron Rodgers is part of the problem, you know? He's bringing in all these guys. Like, why does Nathaniel Hackett have a job? It's not all Saleh's fault. He doesn't have all the control.
He needs to have all the control. He's the head coach.
But that's an organizational problem, not a
He's part of it. I don't know.
He's not like some established head coach.
Everyone keeps giving him this pass.
Yeah, he's got to command respect. He does. But, like, how do you get respect from Aaron Rodgers, man? He's the most entitled quarterback ever. He thinks he's so much better than you. How do you win him over? What do you do? Go out for brunch with him? Get him sauced on some mimosas? Like, what do you do at that point?
They empower him, man. They empower him constantly. I don't know what you need to discipline him more clearly. Now, is that going to piss him off? Sure. But it's like, you have to. You need to get this guy's respect. He doesn't fear you at all. He just goes in. He's like, well, I'm the guy, and this is my offensive coordinator. And even Saleh tried to replace the offensive coordinator in secret with Arthur Smith in the offseason. It's like, what is going on? This cloak and dagger nonsense going on here now? Like, this seems a joke.
They're done for the season.
Fire.
I don't see him making playoffs.
Monday night, undefeated Seahawks take the first loss, 42-29 against the Lions. Gino, actually quite good, as he has been all season so far. 395, 1 TD, 1 pick. Kenneth Walker, though, was amazing. 116 total yards, 3 touchdowns. How'd Goff do on the other side? Oh, he was just perfect. 18 for 18, 292, 2 touchdowns. He somehow didn't have a perfect passer rating. I think they need to go in and just clean that up. That makes absolutely no sense. And he got a touchdown pass from Amon-Ra St. Brown, which contributed to my 0.2 loss in fantasy. Eli, Seahawks were your upset alert. Your reaction to your Hawks defense getting smoked.
They were in that game until close to the end there. I think they played a great competitive game against one of the best teams in the league. I liked what I saw from them. Yeah, I thought they would win in Detroit, but you can't beat a perfect quarterback. Goff was unreal that game. Some of those plays that Campbell designed were beautiful. And Montgomery, he was incredible that game as well, just breaking tackles. He smoked Witherspoon and went off for like a 50-yard run. Yeah, just incredible. That combination of Gibbs and Montgomery is so special. I haven't seen that before. They really work off of each other, and they're able to just kill defenses. Lions deserve that win, but I liked what I saw from the Seahawks. Lots of people didn't think their offense would be that great this season. Question marks around Geno, but I think he's proved he's very capable this season. He's escaping pockets. He's looking very confident throwing. And, hey, Kenneth Walker's back. 3 touchdowns. Loved what I see from him. And I think Seahawks are going to be still very hard to beat this season.
Yeah, I got to agree. The Seahawks were very impressive, honestly. Like, I was really not high on them coming into this game, and they impressed me. They just got outclassed, you know? Like, the Lions are contending for a Super Bowl, whereas the Seahawks are kind of have a bit of more of a ceiling, especially with Geno. Although Geno has been good, I don't think he's a Super Bowl, like, champion quarterback by any means.
He could be, though. Don't write him off. You know what happens if you write Geno off.
I'm writing him off. I'm confidently writing that one off. He can write back at any time if he wants. I'll be pretty impressed. But
Let's get back to reality.
The Lions' defense isn't that good. I mean, the Seahawks' offense is good, but they barely stopped them also. They were going tit for tat for a while there. And the Seahawks got fucked on that 2-point conversion.
Yes.
But it was a fun game to watch.
I missed that 2-point conversion. Like, I saw the play, but I don't know what happened after. They didn't challenge that, right?
No.
McDonald didn't. No. They definitely should have challenged that because
there should have been PI on DK there. He was getting shoved.
He just caught it though. He was in. Like
Yeah, no, he was in. He was in.
he was just in. That's what that 2-pointer really was. The refs ruled him out, but he was in. Made a really nice catch, got his feet down, and it was a great play. And they just didn't give it to him. DK has been great this season, by the way, to start.
Yeah,
Only
back
on every play. Every play on the ball.
Gino was really, that connection seems to have grown in the offseason. I was one of the people definitely thinking Seahawks offense was going to be kind of a dud this year. Doesn't look like it so far. I was not impressed with Lions defense, like you said, Joel. You know, against a good offense like that, a team that kind of knows them, they're in shootouts all the time with this team every year, it seems like. So I'm not too worried about it. I feel like I was expecting a shootout in this one. I was expecting a closer game, though. I thought Seattle's defense was overrated, but they looked way out of their depth, actually. They couldn't stop anything. If you can't even get a pass deflection all game, like that's a disaster.
Their line was pretty banged up, though. I think they were missing 4 starters or something. So they shouldn't look that bad going forward once they're healthy. But yeah,
that doesn't help. But Goff is looking unreal. He's doing like pirouetting, turning around, throwing it to a guy who's barely open. I was like, man, dude, it was absolutely insane. I'm not too concerned about the Lions defense, but that was kind of an eye opener. I'd feel better about the Lions even if the Vikings in their own division didn't look so deadly, but yeah, that was a really good game, at least. Very entertaining. Bills, Sunday night. Hunted down in Baltimore, losing 35-10. Lamar was really good. Oh, they were poached, man. Lamar was just building off Derrick Henry. Over 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Joel, how surprising was this blowout?
Honestly, once Derrick Henry went for that 80-yard, what was it, 80, 70?
87.
87-yard touchdown.
Play.
It was like, oh, fuck. It was like these guys they came to play. It was one of those classic games that the Ravens always win. And I think some early struggles this year have maybe tainted my view of the Ravens far too early. And I think they're very real. I think this week is going to be a huge game against the Bengals, honestly. And, I don't know. Bills maybe were bound for a little setback, but still believe them. They're obviously going to win their division. And they got shit kicked. Fair and simple.
This Ravens team is the one that I thought I was going to see coming into the season. This is the one who I thought would finish tip-top. And they just weren't using Derrick Henry enough early on. And look what's happened ever since they started using him, how he used to be used. Like he's going off on these almost 200-yard games, just controlling that offense. He's such an X factor. You have to use him like how they are these past 2 games. It just changes the way the game is played, right? It opens up so much more for Lamar, a quarterback who was already so dynamic. That is just such a strong team. And they don't even need Mark Andrews. 0 catches. Like they're not using Likely either, who's unreal. And also Zay Flowers. Like they don't need any of their wide receivers. They can just run through your mouth, looks like.
Run through your mouth. I feel like Likely has taken Mark Andrews' job in a way. I see him on the field a lot of times with Mark Andrews not even on the field. I'm very confused with that.
That drop from Andrews was...
Yeah. And see, this is what happens when you're out of rhythm and you're not getting that attention that you usually get. We saw with Devontae Smith last year, a couple games not really being used a lot. Then they try to get to him, drop. Just as a receiver, gets you out of rhythm. But as if I needed more evidence. Yeah, more reason that Derrick Henry's a Hall of Famer. Like, this dude's amazing. On his second team, there's so much tread on his tires, and he's still a killer. He makes people quit. He ran 0.1 miles per hour less than Xavier Worthy did on his touchdown against the Chargers. How?
That's quite the stat.
He builds speed as he runs, you know?
Imagine that freight train coming at you. Like a truck, man. Yeah, no, I'm getting out of the way. There's no way. He's massively heavy. He's stupidly fast. Like
he runs so upright too, and he just stiff arms everyone. Like you don't see another running back that can run like him. Like I don't think you ever will. He's so unique.
He literally, it looks like Marshawn Lynch, but not as like Marshawn Lynch had more quicker cuts, but the ferocity on both of them is just insane. I was really impressed with the Ravens defense, I have to say, only giving up 10. That's crazy against the Bills offense that was clicking. So that's a really encouraging sign, I'd say, for a defense that I'm really worried about. But I was shocked with that blowout. Totally shocked. I thought Bills would win outright. That was wild to me.